Welcome to my annual road trip, this time with an Alfa Romeo 147. In last episode, we crossed the entirety of Spain and almost all of France. After a lot of motorway miles and some fuel tanks later, this is where we are now. Look at that, it's huge. Anyway, thankfully it seems they are stopping here. I was getting a bit worried because the ETA was now 9:14, so if it kept going on we would arrive with no time to spare at all. Here we are. Thank you.
Thank you.
Difficult to miss it, if I'm honest. Now it's the final passport control by the UK border, I guess. And we should be onto our lane, which is 1209. And that's it. We still have a bit of waiting to do though, because yeah, it only leaves in 55 minutes. Well, we're already boarding. I was gonna say the plane. Already boarding the ferry. This is mostly just having patience and waiting, actually. There's nothing to it. And we are in the UK. It's been 5 minutes of driving in the UK actually, and it's still a little weird. The biggest difference is that I usually don't think about any of this at all. I mean, if you are a somewhat experienced driver, it's been 15 years driving for me. If you are somewhat experienced, you don't think about how to do a roundabout or any of that, obviously. And here, at least for the first minutes, you do need to think where you're gonna position yourself, but it's not that difficult. I think more 5 minutes or 10 and it will be easy. First impressions, the weather is sort of British, but I was was expecting that. In terms of driving, I think that people in the UK do accelerate a lot harder coming out of roundabouts and all of that. I don't see it as much in Portugal. I don't know if that's a cultural trait or if it just happened so with the cars that I've encountered. Alright, let's ease ourselves into driving here, then I'll get back to you. But so far so good. We are obviously coming out of Folkestone and we are headed into Canterbury. Actually, we're going to Whitstable first. This is the A something. I just know it's a main road in which you can do 60 miles per hour. That's about it. It's actually a dual carriageway in 3 miles more or less. An Alfa 147 with a Goodwood sticker and someone playing Joy Division in the street. It's starting well. Boom! 30 miles per hour there. I'm getting off of Canterbury now and headed to... how's that called? Forgot. Oh yeah, it's Ashford, which is almost a 40-minute trip because these roads are a bit slow. Anyway, I'm getting the hang of it. I'm feeling a bit more comfortable driving on this side and negotiating roundabouts from this side. I mean, if you are a good driver somewhere else, you just need to, not saying that I am, but you just need to figure that out in the first 10, 15, 20 minutes and yeah, it's a matter of observing, seeing what traffic is doing in front of you, knowing more or less where you're going. That helps, and obviously Google Maps is also a huge help. The weather is really pleasant now. I wasn't expecting that. Just enjoy. Anyway, everything's going great at the moment. I think we've already passed the 2,000 kilometer milestone in the trip. Let me check. No, actually not. 1,950 kilometers. So in 50 kilometers we will do that. Now, let me see where I do have to turn. Oh, that suspension at the back. Harsh. And after looking gorgeous at a Waitrose car park, it was time for the Alfa to rest for the day. You find me now headed to Hastings, going from Ashford, which is where we slept last night. Not too difficult to get out of the city. Actually, I already feel like I've driven here forever. No, we didn't get to that point yet, but I'm feeling pretty comfortable now. I'm noticing though that I have a tendency to drive closer to the lines in the middle and a bit further from the curb. That's probably because I'm used to driving on the right and not on the left, but nothing major, and the car is also sort of narrow, so that's not an issue. We're now on another A road, which I forgot the name of. It was not on this road, but there was one that we were going down that had a signal, and it was saying something like "poor record in the junction ahead," and I find it funny the way British people use euphemisms, because in Portugal we would say crash area, not exactly a crash area, that's not the best translation, but basically an area where people usually have accidents. Here it's like the junction failed the test. The Alfa is still doing just fine. I had some difficulties checking the oil because I was expecting it to have dropped more than it did, and it didn't. So I decided to wait this one out, this stop, and I'm gonna check the oil maybe in the evening or tomorrow morning. But we've only done 300 kilometers and since the last time in the one. And the car, from what I've seen, doesn't use that much oil, so that shouldn't be an issue. But the truth is that the variator has complained a little bit this morning. Just a bit, and then it quietened down, but yeah. trying to guess if this is a 40 or a 50 mile per hour area. I'm currently doing a little bit over 40, and the cars behind me are still leaving some space, so I'm assuming it's 30. National speed limit then? Yeah, it still gets the shift on, but I gotta tell you, in Portugal, most places where I would do 60 miles per hour would not be as narrow. And I don't know if that was an A road before, but the road that we were going down, that these sudden corners, almost 90 degrees, after you had sections where you were going 50 miles per hour. I find that a little bit sketchy. I mean, if you already know them, it's fine. But I find them a bit too tight given the speed that you can carry in the straights. Obviously, people that drive here are more than used to it, I guess. It's now the 30 zone. See, this one actually is done right, but the other one didn't have the sign. At least I don't think it did. And yeah, look at this. I can't even see the cars that are coming from the other side. Of course, that's because these are the steering wheel on the wrong side. So what I'm seeing is edges. I can see the cars coming from the other side. So that's a bit challenging getting out of some corners. But that's actually something to do with us driving this car, not with the experience in general in the UK. I don't know if it's all roads that you have, probably not, but I'm finding that you have a lot of shadow in these roads. So I sort of understand with your mild summer too why convertibles, wow, that was nice, why convertibles are so common or so cherished here. Let's go, Alpha. Yeah, we're already doing 30 miles per hour. Bit gutless now. There you go. That's nice. We are out of Hastings. The weather was a bit rubbish. The old town certainly has some charm, although I think that the place is starting to look a little bit run down. From what I've read, it's something that's happening with some coastal towns. Some of the suburban roads here are appalling. They are completely full of potholes that have been mended more or less, but they're not very good. Anyway, the weather is opening up, and we're now going towards the Seven Sisters, trying to have a bit of a picnic. Not sure if that's gonna happen. It should be windy. I don't know if it's because it is summer, but there's more traffic than I thought it would be on these roads. As you can see, there was a lot of people visiting the Seven Sisters. No wonder, because it is pretty. This is actually not the center of Brighton. This is Preston, I think, which is like 5, 6, 8 kilometers away, something like that. Oh, it feels like we are in Britain. doing 60 miles an hour on the A27, if I'm not mistaken. Suddenly, there's a lot of lorries. I don't know if it's the time of the day, maybe. Otherwise, smooth journey, can't complain. Just a little bit of rain. I finally parked, and with a pretty nice view, actually. After a stop in Arundel, how do you say it? Which is pretty small. We're now headed to Winchester. The weather is not good at all, and I can't use my rear wiper because it's not working. I don't need that much either. Yeah, not a great day. I hope it's a bit better in Oxford. That's it. We're now doing around 115 kilometers per hour, so 70 miles per hour on the M27. That's a nice thing. Yeah, you could just spot a little bit of it. It's a buggy. No idea what the engine is, but it sounds rockets. It's very odd that there is no oil shoulder. I mean, if something happens, you really are screwed. It's a pair I wouldn't see in a Portuguese motorway. I mean, not regularly, at least, and not together. Wow. Especially the Alpine. I mean, wow. That color. Done. Going to Oxford now, or more accurately to the Red Bridge Park. I think that's it, which is a park and ride in the outskirts of the city. Because I don't particularly fancy driving in Oxford. From what I've read, it's confusing. I've already stopped at the petrol station in Esso and put 20 pounds in this, which worked out at around 13 liters, sorry. And something. I didn't fill it up this time, but I'm gonna fill it before going to Festival of the Unexceptional, which will be Saturday. I forgot to say, I've already calculated the fuel consumption for the tank between, I think it was Irun in Spain, and the other one in the north of France. I don't know where it was already. It was before Rouen, I think. That worked out at around 7.3 liters per kilometers, which is actually fine, given that we've done a lot of highway at 110 and 130 kilometers an hour. And this car starts guzzling a bit of petrol at 130 because of this gearbox. It's already doing more than 4,000 RPM at that speed. Just a regular car park in the UK, I guess. Mine is definitely the oldest car here. There was a Yaris Verso that might be older, but maybe it is Mercedes. Good morning, sunshine. Let's check the oil then. I don't remember how many miles we've done since last time, but I haven't checked after putting some in that slope, I think. So, let's see. Clean it first. Twin sparks are notoriously bad for reading the dipstick. Seems like it's my fate. It was the same thing on the XM, but you can only read in one side. From this side it will be over maximum, and from this side, which is probably the one that counts, it's more or less at 3/4, I think, between maximum and minimum. There's that little blob over there, and it's only there. So 0.2 liters, and we should be good. Go down. As for the coolant, we are still exactly where we were before leaving home, and actually we have too much coolant. but yeah, it hasn't used anything. I should remove some because of pressure perhaps building up, but we're not really entering city traffic in very warm temperatures with this car, so it should be fine. It's a bit tight sometimes. I've tried to leave it a bit more loose, but with the heat it really grips. So 200 should be about here. Yeah. And now I'm actually suffering to try and get some PTFE, that lubricant for plastics, at both ends of the clutch pedal, the pin of the clutch pedal. But this is not going to be easy because I don't want to remove it. I don't know if it's gonna have much effect. And yeah, I can't do much more than this without losing some time and patience. Really, there's nothing relevant to tell you right now. We are on the M40, doing probably 70 miles an hour. Quite a bit of traffic, since this is one of those motorways that go to London, I think, or at least very near London. And it's a day of the week, of course. Apart from the fact that we seem to have cured the clutch noise for a while, as you can see. I wonder for how long it will work. I'll take that though. Traffic in the UK is still tragic. Today we're headed to Festival of the Exceptional, and this car is filthy. I tried going to a Tesco in Bar Hill, but it's actually a hand car wash and they were asking for £12. I'll try to find one in Peterborough. This should just be an hour and a half trip. Just need to pick something to eat, wash the car, and yeah, all good. The weather is great. It will really help. I've needed to top up the oil in the Alfa again, so I finally finished the liter can that I brought. I have another one with 5 liters, sorry 4. This means that since the car has done 2400 kilometers so far, it works out the oil consumption at around 1 liter per 2400 kilometers. It's a bit better than I thought it would be, although not stellar, but that certainly doesn't warrant opening an engine for me. If it stays that way, it's fine, at least for some time. I wanted to check the tire pressure yesterday, but imagine my surprise when I noticed that they were charging £1.50 for that. It's actually free in Portugal. You go fill up the tank and use that for free. Actually, you don't even have, and that's maybe the problem, you don't even have to use that petrol station to actually go there and check your tire pressure, which makes some people just go there and use that for free and leave again. Yeah, I completely forgot to explain what the Festival of the Exceptional is. It's basically a festival, a car festival as you might have guessed, which celebrates the sort of old, but not necessarily that old, since it starts at 20 years old. This car is already 22, so it still fits the bill, although it's not going to be the biggest attraction in there for sure. It celebrates cars that are already a bit old, maybe from people's childhood or young adulthood, and cars that were just ordinary, cars that you were brought to school in, for example, or went on holidays. That's the spirit. In Portugal, we don't actually have that sort of thing going on. Usually you have car clubs that revolve around a certain brand, or you have meetings for high-end cars, but it seems there's nothing in between. So this is going to be very interesting. We have 5 kilometers to go, a bit more than that, I think. And yeah, just a quiet country road. A bit narrow. It's giving the suspension a good workout. I was a bit worried for my sump there. I haven't seen any unexceptional classics yet. Maybe because we are already a bit late, or because of the route we're using. We'll see. The A2 over there, which is probably the same age as this, and actually a bit more exceptional if you think of the space frame. Is that how they called it? Well, the aluminum frame. So yeah, lovely Mercedes. I actually don't know the code, but it's a 190E, so petrol, and also a couple cows. I see Mr. Fierce Driving is already here. Very nice 200 VI.
It's a phenomenal thing to watch, still. I don't think they lift cars up. I hope they do. I'm going to watch this Christmas. It's a sign of my age, and I just watch it and go, oh, 0 to 60 challenge with him in the passenger seat, and then I got him to get out.
Did he at any point pick up the car and throw it across? I don't know.
I could start telling you what each and every car on the footage is, but to be fair, all YouTubers have done that 1 month ago, and I'm not adding much at this point, so just enjoy these short clips hastily put together. was actually really easy. Maybe because of the direction we were coming from, and maybe because we were also not the first people to get there. one-way road. There's not a direct motorway there. We're currently, since leaving the grounds, doing 6.4 liters per 100 kilometers, so probably in the 40s the MPG. And since we left home, let me check, we've done 40 hours of travel and 2,767 kilometers, which is a lot. So it would seem we are at the middle of our trip, but we still have plenty to see. We still have a bit of Wales of the coast to see. We're going to stop in places such as London, the Canwy Castle. We want to go to Aberystwyth, Niki, Cardigan. We're going to see what we will be able to do. It's a bit difficult to cram all of this into one trip. We are, I think, reasonably succeeding, but obviously you have to make a lot of choices and be quick on your feet. And there are many things that you can see and that you're gonna leave for next time. But we are pleased with what we have seen so far, and this is a lovely country. There are things that are lovely: the culture, the architecture, the gardens, and surprisingly, we've even been relatively lucky with the food. Sure, we don't exactly dine at Michelin dinners back home. That could be a reason, but we think it's okay. I think we've moved a bit past those prejudices. Not all food in Portugal is great, and not all food in UK is terrible. And we live in a globalized world, isn't it? There's probably a Getz diesel, I think it's 1.5 cylinder engine that was leaving a cloud of smoke behind. No smoke. That turbo is probably gone. Anyway, ooh, and it smells awful. We seem to have arrived just in time for dinner. In part 3, we eat some croissant, we eat some pizza, we drink some water, we drink some coffee, and the Alfa drinks some fuel. So, see you there.